Welcome to Podcast of All Podcasts. Enjoy best moments of podcast history.
The Flogging Mollies with the Devil's Dance Floor.
Right in front of me, color of her eyes were the color of insanity. Crushed beneath her wave like a ship I could not reach the shore. We're all just dancers on the devil's dance floor. Well, swing a little more, and there we go. Swing a little more next to me. Swing a little more, and there we go. Swing a little more on the devil's dance floor. Brushed against her face, I could feel her insecurity. Might have been a drunk and her father was obscurity. Nothing ever came from a life that was a simple one. Pull yourself together, girl, and have a little fun. When she took me by the hand, I could see she was a furry one. Her legs ran all the way up to heaven and past Avalon. Tell me something, girl, what it is you have in store. She said, come with me now on the devil's dance floor. Well, swing a little more, and there we go. Swing a little more next to me. Swing a little more, and there we go. Swing a little more on the devil's dance floor. Swing a little more on the devil's dance floor.
Andrew Santino with Andrew Schulz.
The market, they can't really survive. They had to drop the price of the S and the X because the 3 was a new model that didn't sell as well as they wanted to. The more I read about those things, the more I go, this is proof that America just doesn't like change. Proof. Because look at it like this. The Model 3, that's their newest electric car. All electric, bro. Think about that. Yeah. Never have to go to a gas station ever again, right? Mm-hmm. They dropped the price. I think the intro price for the cheapest one is 35 G's. I'll have to look it up. Right. Okay. That's a pretty standard
It's great
car today.
Yeah.
Right? You can get one for 19,000, 20,000, but 30 something is, that's, whatever. People still don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so reasonable, and people are still like, no.
Yo, you know when we would want it more? If he made it 100, I bet.
Well, like the S is $100,000.
And I bet you that shit is sold out.
They sell a lot of those they've been selling them for years.
We just want the shit we can't have.
Exactly.
He's like, hey, do you want to save the environment for nothing? And we're like, no.
Not really.
And they're like,
make it harder on me.
Make it harder. It's just like that. What is that shit in your house where you talk to it and it does things? Google has one.
Yeah, Alexa,
right? It's like, that shit is just mining our data, right? That's all it's doing.
Yeah.
Right? It's just taking all of our information.
It's just receiving everything constantly.
Exactly.
Logging you into different categories.
Yeah.
That's the wildest shit.
It's crazy. And then we see the ads that we were talking about that day, right? And what is so interesting about it is Amazon would give this to all of us so that we could get the data. If they gave it to us, we'd be skeptical, right? We'd be like, what you trying to work here, right?
If Alexa was free, right?
But they charge like $80, and we're like, I got a robot. We're so dumb.
I got a robot that listens to me.
The fucking Jetsons. We think we have a slave robot in our house. Tell me the weather. It's like, you're getting tricked.
Yeah, you're getting tricked.
Fucked. And they're like, the only way we'll allow ourselves to get fucked is if we pay.
Yeah, we pay. We want to pay. Yeah, we want to pay. We don't want freedom for free.
No,
we want to pay for
it.
Let me buy my freedom. America's so fucking weird with that shit. I don't know what that is, because I think it maybe because we're a capitalistic society in an earning based country. We think that, if it's free, it probably doesn't have value.
It sucks.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, cutting back to the reason that Burning Man works on a very small scale, right?
It's not functional for humanity,
right,
for society.
It works because
8 days.
The idea of what's free is not really free, because you're giving to get and getting to give.
Yeah.
So there's an exchange. You're physically seeing the balance.
Yep.
So in our world, you can't see that balance, right? Like if a guy comes up to my door today and says, "Hey, I want to do I want to fix a few things on your roof for free. Mm-hmm. There's a few shingles that are fucked up." What would I say?
You'd say no.
Get the fuck away from my house.
Leave my home.
Who the fuck are you? Think I'm gonna let you on my fucking roof?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though he could tell me, he could say,
call your wife. Are you fucking the roofer? Some guy's trying to fix my fucking roof.
Some good-looking motherfucker came by.
You start measuring him up. You look at his body. Who the fuck is this guy? Why are you white?
Are you fucking a roofer? Yeah, so I just think like that idea, we can't physically see those exchanges. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work like that. So that America can't really get behind the idea of being given something for free because they assume it has no value. Also, we devalue stuff by giving things for free that we should have charged for.
Look at comedy.
That's that devaluing the shit out of comedy. I mean, there was a fucking dude last night at the club. Like any night at the club, like any night in fucking New York too, at the South, a banger lineup that if you literally put the monetary value on it, it'd be $500, $600 to see those people, right? A guy last night was complaining to one of the door guys as I walked by. I heard him say, "Why can't I go in the other room?" And the door guys, put up with so much drunk fucking pieces of shit. He goes, "Bro, you can't go in there because A, it's sold out, and B, you don't have a ticket for this. You're in that room. You can't. This show's done." And he was like, "That's bullshit. I bought a ticket. I should be able to go in the other room." And the door guy wasn't having it. He was like, "Bro, you can't. All right, please get it. Continue walking."
Have you ever went to an event ever?
Yeah.
Like you buy a seat for the game, you don't get to walk on the court. Why can't I shoot the free throw? I bought a ticket.
I bought these online, so. SeatGeek. I should be able to. Do I not get to go in the locker room now?
I'm the coach. I bought my ticket. So beat it, Nick Nurse. These people are retarded.
Yeah, they want. That's the problem though, because it devalues the worth 100% of what it should be.
Like on the road, when they there's certain clubs and they'll give away tickets, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. When I wasn't selling a single ticket, I was so fucking grateful that they could comp the room and give me an opportunity.
Yeah, you need to pay per room sometimes. Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here knocking like capitalism. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best system we have so far.
It works.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
It's working.
There's just little things that you can dabble in. It's like everybody likes a vacation to Cancun. You don't need to live in Cancun. That's what Burning Man is. It's like, oh, this beach is nice. Okay, back. So, what the funny bone does, a lot of times they'll just comp the whole room, right? And then all those people get used to never paying for comedy tickets.
Ever.
So they start to think comedy is free.
Yep.
And then you come in there as a guy who's like, no, I don't comp the room. And they're like, I don't understand. Like, why should I pay for something that in my brain is free? So they're devaluing their own shit.
I know it's fun. And the problem is the system used to be they would paper just to kind of fill in some of the empty spaces.
Now the business model
is paper. And then when people start buying tickets, they go, oh, okay, well, we'll just cool back on the paper. I mean, I adamantly, you fight against that. If when you're selling tickets, you're like, don't do
paper
that.
a single. If I can, do not paper a single thing.
Yeah, make them pay.
They want to pay. That's what we're saying. Like, what is that?
They do want to pay.
Was it Ben Franklin? There's that quote about like, if you have someone who's your enemy, ask him to borrow a book. Ask him if you could borrow a book.
Ask him to borrow a book? Is that what it is?
So, yeah, because like there's this cognitive dissonance thing that happens where if someone does you a favor, they start to think they must like you because they did the favor.
Oh,
it's like when a girl gives you pussy, she's like, oh, I think I really like him. Right? It's because it's like, like before that she wasn't sure, and then you fucked, and she's like, well, he came in me, so
I think I like him.
I love that guy.
I love this fucking dude now. I love you.
Just cleaning herself up.
But before that, nothing.
No
yeah,
clue,
nothing. Doesn't
right?
matter.
So I guess in a weird way they want to. It's just getting them to invest, and then if the clubs want them to invest, just book the good comics. It's like,
well, it's kind of like when you start to learn. Chappelle, I think, was talking a lot about like taking notes from rich people. Like Jay-Z talked about it on his last album. All he did was talk about how he's like, I buy art. I'm friends with Jews. Like all he wanted to do was like let you know he's doing well. But if you take notes from rich people, you really do learn why they continue the way they do. Look, I played golf the other day at Bel Air Country Club, right? I'm white as fuck, right? But I'm not those guys. I don't fit in like that.
Right.
I'm doing my best. But they like me because I'm funny. I like to have a couple of drinks. I don't take it serious, right? Yeah. I'm the perfect outsider to come inside. Because they're like, this guy's great. He's a fuck. You should join.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because they love who we are because we're free. And they're locked to this lifestyle, which it's like...
They know they can't do this either.
It's golden handcuffs, though. Like, they wish they could do... Yeah. Like... I'm like, damn, it'd be nice to join this club. It's $250,000 just to get in the fucking door. Yeah. Just to fucking get in. And then you pay dues. But like the idea is like, those guys don't even think about that money.
Yeah, that's nothing to them.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not giving you that much money to kick into the social club. But they want you there more than anybody else that's already there. That's like anything, right? It's like, because that's not my world... They want me. They're like, oh, please.
Yeah, and it's something about comedy, isn't it?
Oh, they just. But
they
love somebody. The funny thing is, they want the wealthy in those groups, and I've been around enough of them now.
Yeah.
The wealth, by the way, not rich. Wealth,
the real shit. Yeah, yeah.
Like
they own sugar.
Yeah. What I've told this before is when I first moved to LA, a friend of a friend was like, "What does your dad do?" And he's like, "He's in plastics." He's in plastics? What is that even fucking... He owns plastics?
That's the real wealth.
He's in plastics.
Yeah.
Do you know wood? We're wood.
Yeah. Pepper just owns it. You know the black flakes in the salt and pepper? Yeah, that's him.
That's my dad. But
someone's got to own that.
Yeah, they
right?
do.
And they're the fucking... That's the real rich people,
that's the wealthy... That's the wealth. That's the wealth.
You want to know what's an insane concept? Someone brought this up to me, but like, just the first guy that said like, a piece of land was his?
Yeah. That was like, this is mine.
That's nuts. Like, dude, think about like before that everybody just kind of like walked around.
Or you just like staked your little claim and you're like, this is my hut.
And then you might have died. And
I'm staying over here. This is where I stay. That's what it is.
This is mine.
This is where I stay.
You used to stay places.
I stay here.
We're all gypsies.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then some guy was like, this is mine. And then he was like, when I die, guess what? It doesn't start all over. Like, my kid gets it.
Yeah.
Even though he did nothing.
No, yeah. Like, this is ours. Now I own this land.
It's a fucking nutty
that's a crazy concept.
Owning land. Like, you own this land here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, I own an apartment in New York, but it's on the 8th floor. So if the building blows up, I don't just own that fucking air.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't put a...
That's mine up there.
Put a balloon up to the 8th floor. like, there's a piece of the earth that we're on right now that you own.
It's mine. Well, Ian Edwards would tell you. Ian's my favorite. Ian Edwards always talk. He's like, even when you own, you still don't own because you paying somebody. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. You are like, it's mine, but it's still not mine.
Who after you paid off? Who do you?
You're still always going to pay taxes.
Yeah, but the
You pay,
taxes...
you clear the house. You clear the house, right?
That's a fee so that someone with a machete doesn't come and take your shit.
I get it, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as owning outright without paying. It doesn't exist. You can't own without paying any sort of property tax unless you live in the middle of nowhere on some sort of reservation, reserve, or government land.
Can we chalk up paying the taxes? Can we say it's not like a fee, that you're actually paying for a service? In other words, like...
Yeah, but it's a service you have to have.
You have to have it. That's right. You can't say, don't give me water, don't give me electricity, don't give me roads.
Have to have it.
But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you might not want to use the roads, but motherfucker, you're going to use the roads.
Everyone's going to use the roads.
Don't be a pain in the ass.
Right.
Like, there's some guy who's just a pain in the ass. He's like, well, I'll just swim everywhere I go. And it's like, fuck you. Just pay the fucking... I bet in the beginning the government was like, all right, if you don't use the roads, you don't got to pay it. And then people were just being dicks and like tiptoeing on the road. Like, just pay the fucking bills, man.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying.
But yes,
you do have to pay to be part of the
You're paying to
system.
something, but at some point, yes, I have paper that says this lot is me. Yeah, it's wild.
Is yours.
It's a creepy concept.
But is it yours?
Yeah.
It's only yours because, like, there's no other bad guy. We're the biggest guy.
Yeah.
We're the Vikings.
Yeah, we're it.
Like, nobody's coming in.
Nope.
Nobody. How sick is this? Dude, what a life.
That's wild.
Like, yeah.
It's crazy to think that who made it ours? Like, who made it mine? Really? You know what I mean?
White people.
Whites.
We're not even drinking.
I know. White people. You want to have a drink, by the way? I thought it was fucking early.
Whatever you want, bro. I'm down.
You want to have a little something?
I'll have a little drink.
We should on the show.
It's whiskey ginger. I felt bad last time when we recorded and the audio didn't go.
The audio got fucked up. Hold on. I'm gonna get a little drink to pour in there. I'm gonna get a little something.
What are you having?
I'm well, I'm gonna pick a good whiskey.
Okay, cool.
Talk to the audience. Tell them something while I come back.
Okay.
Actually, plug where you're going. Tell them
Oh yeah, man. This weekend I'll be in Cincinnati, at the lovely Funny Bone, and go to theandrewschulz.com and go check out all the different...
Dax Shepard with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Which I had written and directed. Okay. And I, of course, was just aware of that because that's all I'm thinking about at that time. It's like, oh my God, I have a movie coming out. Is it going to tank? Blah, blah, blah. And then here I'm sitting right in front of you, my quote, competition that weekend. So
that's really funny.
I think I just don't know what else to say to you. And I kind of go like, oh yeah, our movies are coming out on the same weekend. You're like, yeah. And then I say, and I think about this probably once every 4 months, this will pop into my head.
Scared.
It's so embarrassing. I go, well, may the best movie win. Yeah. I don't know why I said that. I didn't know what else to say about it.
I appreciate that as a sense of humor. You have to kind of take this shit lightly.
Oh,
you have to.
And I just always, like, from that moment on, I thought, well, if he does remember meeting me, he certainly is like, he said the weirdest thing, like, let the best movie win.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay, great.
I haven't thought of it. No, but it's funny. What I think about a lot, actually, what that reminds me of is how we do turn what we do into a competition.
Yeah. There's going to be a winner and a loser.
Right, but should there be?
No. But again, you and I might not personally care, but we are aware of the fact that if it does well, we'll get to do more of what we like to do.
100%.
So it's like intrinsically baked in.
That is the other side of the coin. And I think a lot about how it shouldn't matter what box office or awards or critics or scores or number of likes or followers, like
Rotten Tomatoes,
right? Like it should be about my creative process and the love of doing it, and that's what makes me happy. And that is really true, and I have found in my life that when I just focus on, hey, actually what I really love is making stuff, then that leads me to happiness. Whereas when I focus on those other kind of external validations, it drives me crazy and makes me unhappy. But it's 100% true, the point you just made, and I have to acknowledge that when those metrics, when those external validators are positive, you do get more professional opportunities.
Right.
And so those professional opportunities then lead to the opportunity to do that thing that I really like doing. So I can't ignore that those things matter. I just wish that I could.
Yeah, the mental trick I try to play with myself is like, I'm in the show up and work business. I'm not in the results business. I just don't have anything to do with the results. As you know, you've written and directed a movie. The process of making it is like what you'll think of on your deathbed. It's like the most fun, fulfilling, engaging.
Yep.
And then ultimately the whole thing's decided on a Friday. Not even Friday night. You get that call at like 7 on the West Coast, and they go, yeah, so here's the thing. And you're like, well, wait, can't there be a miracle on the West Coast? They haven't even started going, no, there's not going to be a miracle. There never has been one.
This actually is science.
And then you accidentally start evaluating that 2-year process by that fucking phone call on a Friday. And it's just so unfair to the experience.
Yeah, it's true. And funny you say that that's what you'll remember on your deathbed. I think about that a lot too. That's part of how I often measure or make decisions like, do I want to take this job? Do I want to spend my time doing this? I think about when I'm old and I'm like, I know I'm going to die pretty soon. I'm going to go back and look at a whole bunch of different things that I did throughout my life, and I'm going to remember them.
Yeah. You're not going to look at a spreadsheet of your box office performance.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And I'm not going to go back through my Twitter feed and read my great tweets either. Those are disposable. And so I think about that. Like, what am I going to remember? What's going to be meaningful to me? And I don't know, maybe that's wrongheaded because you're putting too much emphasis on the future and it's important to be present. But I do find that compelling, like relating to the old man me. But that's always the push and pull, right? Is we're part animal. And we're moved by those animal urges.
Yeah.
Like to do basic things like, well, I know that you quit drinking, right? But drinking and Twitter is actually pretty similar. They're both addictive,
like reward
drugs,
center.
Basically, like they figured out how to make software into a drug. And that's, and they've studied, there's science behind how they build these sort of addictive software products to take advantage of your brain chemistry. And I mean, there's all sorts of science behind it.
The one I heard that was most nefarious is it was like one of these guys who defected from Google and went around and did a bunch of interviews.
Yeah.
You probably know his name.
Tristan Harris is his name.
Tristan, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was saying that on Twitter, when you reload, like you pull down so it'll reload.
Yep.
That the reload is completely arbitrary. It could be always loaded,
right?
But it is determining at that moment, do you need to wait 0.5 seconds or 1.2 seconds to keep your interest? And I was like, well, fuck. We're all defenseless. How on earth could you outsmart something that has figured out whether I need to wait 30 seconds or 1?
The other thing that Tristan says is that exact technique is taken directly from slot machines.
Yeah.
Right.
So and gambling is, everyone recognizes that gambling is an addiction.
Yes.
You can go to like Gamblers Anonymous.
Sure.
Do 12-step programs.
The only thing I'm not addicted to, shockingly. It's the one thing.
Have you given it a real chance?
I've done quite a bit of gambling. I played poker for a couple years seriously. Yeah. Or regularly. I wouldn't say seriously.
Yeah. But I do think that probably not too much time there'll be 12-step programs for social media.
In South Korea, they treat kids for video game addiction.
That's right.
Yeah, so I feel like that's got to get its over here eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
Those two sides of being a human, there's those things that we have urges to do. And I don't think they necessarily have to be unhealthy. Like, I think there is such a thing as Twitter in moderation, and there is such a thing as drinking in moderation is different for everybody, and it's like everybody has to kind of know their own threshold for, okay, this particular thing, I can do this much of it before it sucks me in. And I know this about myself with social media is like, I know that if I start reading mentions on Twitter, it'll suck me in, and I know I just need to pretty much not do that.
Yeah.
Because it never really leads to anything positive.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing I quote a lot in here is in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink. It talks about the power of the chemicals that give either a reward versus you've eaten a poisonous fruit.
Yeah.
Those two chemicals, one is 10 times as powerful as the other. So if you read 9 awesome mentions and you read 1, you're a piece of shit, unfortunately, you're powerless over that.
Yeah,
you're going to get a chemical that's 10 times stronger than the dopamine you got from the compliments.
100%. Yeah. And we're naturally that way also because when our ancestors are out living in the wild, if someone comes like running up saying like, danger, 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 we're going to pay attention to them.
Yes.
Whereas if someone comes up and is like, let's have a nuanced conversation about, the way of the world, or like how we might solve this problem. You're like, I'm going to probably not pay attention to you. I might pay attention to you later.
Right.
And that's kind of what happens on social media is you get someone like, I think Trump wins an election because he's running up saying, danger, danger, danger.
Yeah.
And it gets everyone's attention.
Yeah.
And social media really amplifies that.
Yeah. Fear's obviously a much better motivator generally than mild pleasure. No, extreme pleasure is a pretty big motivator.
Yeah.
Like if you watch what people will go through to get crack or heroin, you're like, that's pretty motivating.
Right.
Although is it fear?
It's still
coming
fear.
down. Yeah, who knows?
That's interesting.
I have always watched you from the outside, not knowing you. And I've always been very intrigued by you as a person professionally.
Oh, thank you.
Truly, you fall into one of these categories of people, unicorns. Again, by my estimation and my projection, I'm like, this guy has a different relationship with this job than I do. It what appears to be kind of a healthy way.
I'm flattered so far.
Yeah. Also, just a very interesting career in that I was aware of you from Third Rock from the Sun. And then I was like, where's this going to go? And it went to the very top of the mountain. And then there were different periods where you're like, I'm cool. I'm going to sit out for a while. I don't know where one would get that confidence. I'm like, oh, holy shit, they let me in this party. I'll never fucking leave. I don't care what job I have to do to stay at the party by the end. But there seems to be some compass or confidence or something that has kind of guided you. And I am very curious as to how that originated and if some of it is that you've kind of always had employment when you wanted it because you started so young. Do you have a relationship with it that it's like there when you want it and it's not going to go away? Or do you have all the fears I have and other people have?
I definitely have all those fears. It's true. I had a really, fortunate run for a few years there. And then I did decide to take a few years off. Really because I just wanted to have kids.
Right.
And
so that's what motivated that.
Yeah, it wasn't because I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I was scared and remained scared.
Okay.
I just...
Good, you're human.
I just couldn't pass up the experience of like, these babies are here. I'm not going to go to work.
Yes.
And I had the privilege that I could do that. Yes. Like, look, not everybody has this privilege. If I do have the ability, like I can afford to take time off of work.
Yes.
A lot of people can't afford to, but I can, so I'm gonna.
And how much of that is motivated in the experiential sense, right? Like, oh, if I can stay home and interact with these kids, I choose that. I want to do that. Versus,
I feel like I ought to.
Yeah, like when I'm 70 and I recognize I didn't really have to work, am I going to feel like a piece of shit that I chose that and regret that?
Yeah,
like,
that's a great question. I would say there's probably both. For sure.
Yeah.
Going into it was betting that experientially I'm going to get a lot out of this. And even just in a present sense, there's going to be a lot of rewarding moments if I really take the time and just hang out with this kid.
Yeah.
And then this second kid.
Yeah.
And that's true. And I don't like to talk too much personally about
your children,
about my kids, just because I want them to.
Yeah.
And I 100% respect anybody who does.
Well, I started like you.
Yeah.
And then now I do it. And now I'm more wrestling with like, oh, what?
Marc Maron with Woody Harrelson.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Right? Start singing it kind of.
You still got it.
Kind of light. Oh, thank you. Light it first, you know, and then singing louder. And then people start clapping and gathering around in a circle around me.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Like that, suddenly the whole library, by the time I got through with the song, was gathered around, all clapping along.
Yeah.
I jump up on the table and started dancing, which I don't dance.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I did it, and then heart beats so it scares me to death. You know, finish the thing. And they all clap, and this gal comes up, Robin Rogers, and she was this lovely gal in the school who dated the best athlete and had never talked to me before. But anyway, she said, Woody,
I'm vice president of the drama club, and I think you ought to come try out for theater. And I said, well, I absolutely will do that, Robin, absolutely. and I mean, really, it was in my pursuit of Robin that I became an actor. And then later, she and I did date up until sometime during my freshman year in college. She came and visited me, and I still had like 2 papers to write, and she got really mad at me. And
that was it?
I haven't seen her since then. But
chose schoolwork over Robin.
I didn't choose. Maybe it was having procrastinated that schoolwork that. Yeah,
that'll do it. So that was it. That was the beginning of it. But you didn't do it in college, or you did?
I did.
You did act?
Then I went to Hanover College in Hanover, Indiana, and there was the guy who ran the theater there named Doc Evans was an incredible, director of theater and really knowledgeable about theater. And I learned a lot from him. And during college, I did almost maybe 26 plays during college.
Really?
Yeah, including, like, some semesters I'd do, like, 2 one-acts.
Right, yeah. So you were in it.
More than,
What kind of college was that? What's Hanover? Is that a smaller liberal arts school?
Well, at the time, liberal arts, but at the time it was Presbyterian.
Yeah.
I was there on a Presbyterian scholarship.
How do they judge religious scholarships? Like, how much do you believe?
Well, yeah, right. No, at the time I was quite religious, and I was involved in the church, and
in
we had
Ohio
Bible studies at my house, and I mean,
really?
I was one of the,
You ran the Bible studies?
Well, no, the assistant minister would run them, but we'd do it at my house.
So you were really in it, huh? Because I think about that stuff a lot now as I get older. Not that, like, I wasn't brought up with any God, and the wheels would really have to come off for me to find one at this point. But,
it would have to be a dire situation. Well, I'm not. Wouldn't call myself Christian anymore. I don't know. I guess philosophically closer to Buddhism, but I kind of like the Hindu gods. I'm you know what I am? I'm a mixture of.
Sure.
I'm a Hindu-farian.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I get a lot more.
Yeah.
Holidays.
But do you think every day is a holiday in Hawaii? But do you find that, like, was there a point where, you believed hard and then it started to drift? I mean, like, but you still feel like you have that need? Like, I'm not sure I have that need. Some people are like, I really want to find God. I'm like, it seems like a lot of work.
I don't. You know what? I don't look at it that way, but I do. I feel like I know that meditation is probably the most important thing you can do to achieve oneness with God. And I'm not saying that I'm meditating regularly. I haven't achieved any kind of oneness.
Yeah, but you've heard it's good.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I think in fact, I stopped believing in God. I went from agnostic to just, I don't know what I was. Yeah. I just couldn't.
When did that happen?
That was, well, the thing that led to it was I took a lot of theology classes in college.
At Hanover? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually, there were people trying to get me to become a minister.
Oh,
and
really?
I was considering it.
Who were those people?
Someone from my church.
Oh, they knew you had charisma.
The minister.
They knew you could hold the audience. They're like, we need this guy.
I did a sermon when I was 17, and then I did another one when I was at Hanover College. And in fact, this is kind of bizarre, but Mike Pence was 2 years older at the same school at Hanover, and he was the guy who kind of. Led me through it.
Oh, really? He mentored you through your sermon?
Mentored me through it.
Mike Pence did.
Mike Pence.
Frightening vice president.
Yes.
Was he frightening then?
No, not at all.
Just a guy?
We weren't buddies or anything.
Right.
But, he was very religious.
Yeah.
And,
he was. So that's.
And he was the guy who kind of headed that. It was kind of, I don't know, like, for students wanting to do religious things.
Right, the really Christian club.
Very Christian folks there.
Yeah.
And But then, the more I studied theology, the more I realized how man-made the Bible was,
Sure.
And it became very obvious.
That it was
and
just-
especially if you compare like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, you find that, like the last one that was written was John, which was maybe 80 years after the death of Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I think Luke maybe was like 20 years. I don't remember. This has been a long time since I studied this stuff. But you find out that probably Luke is the one with the most relevance toward the other validity if you compare it to the other chapters.
Right.
And then John is a little more, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Now, I stopped believing for a long time ago that Jesus was the Son of God.
Yeah.
I thought he was just an extremely evolved, person. I believe he.
Sure.
I think he lived.
Yeah.
And I think he had tremendous influence, obviously. But I didn't think him saying I'm the Son of the God. I think he meant we're all children of God.
Sure.
And we all, and he said, like the miracles I do, you can do also. So I always felt like there was something not quite right about declaring him God.
Right. And you had a problem with these guys who were like, hey, I wonder if I can still make a little something off this Jesus story. I know he's been dead a while, but I knew a guy that knew him, and right? So that's what sort of tipped you to the fact that this was a construction of humans, is that those books were written so long after he died, there had to be a little bit of hucksterism involved.
Well, also there was a lot of influence by the Nicene Council of the early church, where they would they'd say, for example, it was the way it was originally written. There was one angel outside the tomb when Jesus rose.
Yeah.
But in Jewish law at the time, you had to have two witnesses for a thing to be a valid legal, occurrence. So they changed it to two. These are
even if they're angels.
Even if they're angels, but
it's got to be two.
But I'm saying when they're discussing this stuff in the Nicene, they're slightly manipulating things to make it a little more kosher,
Sure, of course. Right. So
when I started to understand, it's not exactly every literal word that came from the mouth of God in John or Mark.
When you realized it wasn't journalism, that Bible was...
Right. It wasn't God journalism.
Yeah, right. Right.
It was more, anyway.
People constructing this story. All right, but you never lost the desire to have faith in something.
Yeah,
you just
that's true.
moved it around.
Well, I did, because at the time that all this transpired toward the end of my college career, and as I moved to New York City, it was more convenient for my religion to be hedonism.
Funny how things work out. The ease that you just eased into another sort of more exciting belief system.
Tried to make up for lost time.
Could you imagine that though, Woody? If you'd just been closer to Pence, and gone that way, where you'd be now?
Oh, like gone into politics or something?
Politics, or just more Jesus?
Gone to become a minister. I'd probably be a minister of a wonderful flock in
in Hawaii
or wherever,
and you would have somehow worked
Hawaii, great.
worked weed into it somehow.
Well, that's the Rastafari.
Yeah. It'd be a weird hybrid of Presbyterian Rastafari. Yeah, it'd be good and vegan. Everybody would be. So you're just going to reinvent a hippie commune and be a cult leader.
It's not a bad idea.
You can do it.
Just have my own church.
Yeah, why don't you just pull in the Zombieland fans?
Alonzo Bodden on BHL, which I have no idea what it is. That was a gunshot.
But most of them, it's one shot. It's 1 hour, or you might do an hour 20, and then out of that you pull the hour.
Down
because otherwise you have to be able to afford the crew to come out to the theater for 3 nights.
Right.
Which when you're a superstar is easy.
Yeah.
But when you're
not a superstar,
it's not.
Yeah, right. And then who's paying attention?
My favorite and my best one.
Yeah.
And that was another one. I was so ready to do that one. That had been like 5 years after Last Comic. I was a solid topical headliner at that point, because that was a change. After Last Comic, I became much more interested in doing topical and social commentary versus personal experience. And at that point, who's paying attention, that was when you had Sarah Palin, you had Barack Obama, you had gay marriage, you had, like, the country was dealing with issues, you know, and it was so much to talk about, and it was sharp. I did it at NYU. I had a university crowd that, you know, kids that knew what was going on. New York is great, but New York's a great comedy city because New York, you could talk about anything, and if it's funny, they'll laugh, and if it's not, they won't. But they'll never judge, like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that topic. They don't care. Like, New York is where you can do the threw the baby from the train joke if it's funny. They're like, man, that was funny how that baby bounced off the wall. That was hilarious. You know, New Yorkers don't care, so it's beautiful. By the way, I've never done a baby joke like that, so people don't start tweeting in. But if it's funny, did do a throwing a midget joke. Caught a little flack for that, but no, it's kicking a midget. But it was okay because they laughed.
And then historically incorrect.
My last one, that was a one. It was my second Showtime special. Showtime was great. I did it at the Vic Theater in Chicago, which was an iconic theater, a good vibe. And okay, I'm going to be honest now. My publicist is looking at me like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. I wish I'd had a little more prep time for that one. I was coming off a Canadian tour, and some of the material I couldn't do for the Canadians, so I didn't get to do it enough. You know, but then it's also the thing of we comics are always perfectionists, right? So people like, oh, that was funny, and I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Right.
But it was great. But yeah, given a second chance, I would have liked to run the set a few more times before I did it.
Yeah.
You know, but it went great, and the response was great.
I mean, and you could always do another one.
I'm hoping to, but it's going to be a while. Honestly, it's going to be a while because where I'm at now as a topical comedian in America, I'm tired of the same old thing. You know, racism is obviously a huge issue right now. Trump being elected is a big issue. I'm working on it. We're still trying to figure out how to make that funny, you know.
There's something there, and there's I think like once people get over the initial like,
right,
okay, this is real, then you know it will be easier. to...
and we see. And the other thing is, it's like people are like, oh, you comics. No, you don't screw up and ask us to make you feel better. No, you suffer some pain first, and then we'll make you feel better. So so this. But I want new topics to talk about. I want us to move on as a society, and we just don't. And that's the frustrating part about wanting to be topical, is that can we move on? You know, and we don't. Sadly,
well, I mean, because I feel like a lot of people are just sheep, you know, and so like since everyone just kind of just in the same thing over, and like no one wants to. You know, take the charge to lead everyone to like the new conversation or to the new.
You know. And maybe it'll be a generational thing. Maybe millennials, as they get a little older, will bring up something. Right now, the problem with millennials is they're so PC, and you can't hurt their feelings. They have no natural defenses because they've never been attacked by predators, so they can they eat kale. They're not very strong. So you just, when you make fun of them, you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, but that's what you say. You say, no, suck it up.
You want to. Suck it up.
Take your unicycle and,
take a hit. Just take a hit. Go vape.
Right. Oh, my gosh. That's just...
It's the most annoying thing. And it's hilarious. It's like, okay, so you're blowing, like you're sucking on an electronic chemical and blowing steam. Nah, that's not unhealthy. You'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
See you in 10 years.
You've also done a lot of late night,
Yes.
So so when you do late night, because this is one thing that I feel that a lot of comics, just want to know how to get on late night, and then what is that experience like? So even though Jay Leno doesn't have the show anymore, but Jay
was fantastic to me. Jay liked me, and Jay had me on the show. I think I did the show like 6 times. And then he used me as a correspondent a couple of times. But I also got to do, when Kenan had his late night show, I did Kenan's show. I did Conan back when it was in New York. I did that. And I did a few others. You know, this way, and I'm fortunate that I'm kind of a setup punch guy, so I can pull my act apart. But this is how I describe it. It's like being on Sports Center, right? You take the highlights of your act. You can't show them the whole game, so you take the highlights. You take the best joke about, you know, about race. Then you take the best joke about dating. Then you take the best joke about travel, and you put them together, and you just do those. That's how it works, because the set doesn't have to have that continuity that you do when you do a full 45 or an hour. It's a series of funny things. So that's what I learned in doing late night. Hit quick and hit hard, you know, just bang, 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 bang. Because you don't have the time to do, you're on for 4 minutes, right? So if you have a 2.5 minute joke, that's a long time for them not to be laughing. Listening to you and like, all right, get to it. Now, some people can do it, and some are patient like that, but I like to, you know, bang it, bang, 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 bang. They said, I think Johnny Carson's thing was he wanted 4 jokes per minute. He wanted to laugh every 15 seconds, and that was the standard back then. But yeah, so that's what I learned about late night. It's a highlight film. Any short set, anything, because once you get used to headlining and doing 45 to an hour, when they say, okay, you got to do 3 minutes, you know, some come to, well, I can't do 3 minutes. It's like, well, I can, you know, and Jamie Masada, who runs the Laugh Factory, you know, with that open mic, and you do 3 minutes, and people like, wow, only 3 minutes. He told me one time, he said, if you can't be funny in 3 minutes, you won't be funny for 20. And it was like, okay, so you got to be able, you know, and I can do that. I can do anything from, I did 1 minute sets. There used to be a show called Make Me Laugh on Comedy Central. We had 1 minute to make a person laugh, to doing 1 hour specials. And I've done any amount of time in between. And you learn it. You have to do it. It's part of but it's also fun. It's also, that's the fun of the challenge.
1 minute though, man.
Yeah, man, 1 minute. One on one. It was a game show. And then, one on one. You had 1 minute to make a person. Well, that was the trick. You had a minute to make the person laugh, one on one, and they were trying to not laugh. So if they didn't laugh, they would win the money. So you had to try to crack them. You know, it was a fun show. Yeah.
How do you know when a joke is TV ready?
That has changed so much now, because TV isn't network TV anymore. So network TV, you know, back in the days, I wasn't around for Carson, but people used to polish their act for 2 years to get 4 minutes ready for Carson. Like, it had to be that sharp and that polished. It doesn't anymore, because cable, you're allowed to screw around and do stuff. It's TV ready when you do it on TV. Because here's the thing, and you know this, you're a comic, you'll always second guess it. No matter how hard they laugh, no matter how much they applaud, you walk off stage, oh man, I should have said red shoes. Damn, you know, and that's the comic. And you know, people who aren't comics don't understand that. But we always walk off thinking of the joke you didn't do, what you should have said, how you could have done this or done that. So it's TV ready when you do it on TV. It's just there. For me, once it's done, it's done. I leave it there. You know, I leave it there.
So now we got a few minutes left. You do a lot of road work.
Yeah.
And because I feel like it's a very vagabond lifestyle.
It is.
And do you ever just want to just not go on the road?
You get tired. 5-6 years ago was the first time I got tired of being on the road, because it's airport, like Daniel Tosh, before he had his TV show, we crossed paths in an airport, right? And it was like, where are you coming from? And he was like, what difference does it make? It's Groundhog Day, right? You fly in Wednesday, morning radio Thursday, 1 show Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 Saturday, fly home Sunday. Then you go, where are you? Who cares where I'm at? Next Thursday, I'm going to be on the radio in the morning, you know. So that's the life. But you put up with that to be on stage, because that's the love. The love is being on stage. Would I love to have a TV show and not have to go on the road all the time? Yeah, that'd be nice. But until you get that, you got to do the work. You know, and I still love being on stage. But
it took me a while to find this. Phil Hartman with Conan O'Brien. It's a good, positive energy.
Cooking along. My First guest this evening is the star of News Radio here on NBC. He's also in the new holiday season film Jingle All the Way, which opened today. Please welcome the man of 1,000 voices, Phil Hartman. You do that dance often, Phil?
Well, you know, I am quite a dancer. I just flew in from Hollywood, and boy, is my full of crap tired.
You're exhausted.
But I love you, I really do.
You'll never work again.
Nope, goodbye.
Now, you know, I introduced you tonight as Man of 1,000 Voices. You truly are. That's what you're calling yourself now. Is that correct, the Man of 1,000 Voices?
Well, it's been a few years, yeah. Yeah, they tried to take the title away from me. Got in a big lawsuit with Rich Little and his people. So I call myself the Man of 100 Voices now.
Oh, really?
100's plenty.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
Pick a number between 1 and 100.
Seriously?
Yeah.
68.
Popeye. Actually, Popeye is...
That's it. You never actually do it. You just go, well, that would be Popeye.
Don't have to. It's just a list. They know, I know. Let's move on.
Yeah.
No, Popeye is actually 67 and 68 because, as you know, Popeye has two voices. He goes, wow, all right, Olives. But he also goes, oh, you better get out with the getting's good.
I see. Can I pick another one?
Yeah, if you want to go down this road.
Yeah, I like it. 81.
81 is Jim Neighbors.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You know, like, I got a Thanksgiving gift for you, Sergeant Carter. Oh, yeah.
You know what's
good,
great?
all right.
This makes you the perfect talk show guest.
Yes.
You're fully automated. I can just sit here, start
Push my
calling out.
buttons, baby.
Yeah, you're doing, of course, you're in town. You're doing Saturday Night Live this week. I'm back at the old stomping grounds.
Yeah, that's great.
And I heard a rumor that you were going to reprise your Sinatra this weekend. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true, baby. I mean, get me another highball, will you? I got a pinched nerve. Well, we'll see. You know, I mean, it's hard to tell. We're working on a Sinatra on the Joe Pesci show that we think is pretty funny, but sometimes things get cut between dress and hair, as you well know, my friend.
I don't know much about that Saturday Night Live.
Oh, no. He was a kingpin over there before he went to The Simpsons, sold out for Hollywood.
I sold out for that Simpsons
Oh,
cash.
man, look at this.
What?
Big bald spot. Yeah, I took a bullet there back in 49. You know,
look at that
you
thing.
know what it was, Conan?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was doing From Here to Eternity with that freak Ernie Borgnine. Ernie, let's do our own stunts Borgnine. I took a couple of big shots in the head in that one. It's no wonder I cracked my hard disk.
Are you doing, I was talking to someone in the hallway today, and they mentioned that you might do Ted Kennedy. I didn't know that you did a Ted Kennedy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it it takes a lot of booze to go over that bridge.
What have I done? See, he didn't mean it that way.
I didn't. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let's,
Kid's looking good.
He is great and great.
I know, you got confidence, baby, when you start charging the camera like that. That's what I live and breathe, confidence.
Yeah. Thanks, Francis. When I knew you back at Saturday Night Live and you were having some success, and you've had a lot more success since then, I don't know if you're still doing it, but you like to pamper yourself. You like to buy yourself toys. You like to buy yourself the nice things in life, the nice cars. Is this true?
Yeah.
Because we're taking it all away.
Yeah,
we have a member of the IRS with us tonight here to talk about it. No,
Let's talk about the opulent lifestyle of Hollywood fat cat. That's what the common man is interested in.
Well, come on. I want to know if you're still into this stuff.
I am like up to my elbows in a midlife crisis, let's be honest. I can't cheat on my wife. She's psychic. If I look at another woman, she comes home, who's Laura? I go, I didn't get a name. She's a Sagittarius, you know. Okay. Jeez. So I buy toys.
You buy like the nice things. You got like a sailboat. You got those wave runners.
Powerboat,
You got...
Ferrari, airplane, Harley Davidson.
You got an airplane?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
I am a private pilot. That's me up there buzzing around. Wear a helmet.
This is in 1942. Yeah.
But you know what? It's partly because I just love those World War II John Wayne movies, you know? So I can do the hardest part of flying isn't flying the airplane, it's the radio communications, you know? Learjet 3057 Delta inbound Sepulveda pass with information, Juliet. Roger, 57 Delta, make right traffic, 16 right, report downwind, 57 Delta, go, we'll go. Squawk 5555, Roger, squawk and double nickel, 57 Delta entering the downwind on the 45 of being the tower. Roger, 57 Delta, follow traffic ahead, Cessna, 57 Delta looking. Roger, traffic in sight, he's moving kind of slow, can I, whoa, Jesus!
It's that last part that bothers people.
Yeah, well, you know.
Can you,
You're defying gravity. Let's get a good shot of that bald spot
One
again.
more shot of that bald spot. We're going to do a commercial right now. We'll come back with more of the perversely bald Phil Hartman, so stick around. We'll see you in a second. We're back, everybody, here with Phil Hartman.
What a beautiful crowd you've got here.
They're beautiful people.
New Yorkers. The best, baby. And anybody here from New Jersey? Salt of the earth.
Oh, God. just work your way through the whole 50 states.
Show business is political. You got to get people to like you. They're voting for you with that remote control. Him.
I get it now. Thanks for coming by, straightening me out.
Little pointer for you.
All right.
It's all
good to
downhill
know.
from here.
All right. Now,
Uphill.
speaking of politics, you used to do this Ed McMahon impression that got pretty well known on 7-Eleven. I was wondering, since you've been out in L.A., do you ever run into him? Does it get awkward at all when you run into Ed McMahon?
About twice a week.
Are you guys actually...
Ed McMahon has become a good friend of mine, believe it or not. He and his wife, Pam, are... You know, they go to all the, like, the American Comedy Awards and different events that I happen to catch now and then. And, you know, he's a former pilot, too, and that's all it takes. Anybody who was a pilot. He was a World War II pilot, flew Corsairs off of aircraft carriers. Can you see that? Him doing a strafing run on Tarawa. England, you bug-eyed monkeys! Hey-oh! Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a. That'd be worth the price of admission.
That's where the hey-o came from.
Yes, of course. No, so he's a good pal.
And he liked the impression. He didn't mind it.
Well, yeah, he says, this is the man who made me famous. Have another Budweiser. I'm holding back these days. You're drinking for two.
All right.
And I do.
We know, old pal.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us about Jingle All the Way. This is going to... Everyone's saying this is the big holiday movie. You, Schwarzenegger.
Jingle all the way to the bank. No, you know, it was a blast. I mean, clearly it was the biggest break for me so far to star with a certain Austrian actor you may have heard of. Arnold saved my life.
Really?
Yeah. It just makes me teary-eyed just thinking about it. But, yeah, you know, we worked together for several weeks. We got to kidding around a lot, developed a joking relationship, and me being the impressionist, naturally, I was doing him a lot, and lots of I'll be back jokes, and hey, you're erased, and all that kind of stuff. But eventually it started to wear thin with his entourage, which consists mainly of these stunt guys, you know, and one day they took me aside and roughed me up pretty good. And Arnold stepped out from the shadows and said, that's enough.
That counts as saving your life.
Yeah, because if he hadn't have stopped them.
That's nice. That's such a sweet
Hey, you
story.
got a clip?
We do have a clip. It's all stored up. No, actually, we don't have a clip of your movie.
Okay, goodbye.
We got a clip here. Do we need to know anything about this clip?
Well, yeah, all you know is that I'm Arnold's Weasley neighbor.
I see it right now.
And he calls home at a moment of great duress, and you'll see what happens.
Okay, let's take a look at this clip. Phil Hartman in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, fine. Ted, I need to speak...
Thank you, folks, for listening. Tune in next week for more podcasts of all podcasts. All right. So that's it. We have Flogging Molly with Black Friday Rule.
To believe in myself once again, so I dream of a man whose hopes never end. To kiss with a girl who's as lovely as you. I'd give you my heart if you gave me the truth. And for every tear that is lost from an eye, I'd dig me a well where no man could destroy. I want to believe in a freedom that's bold, but all I remember is the freedom of old. Hey! The buildings they shake, but my heart it beats still. Oh mother of Jesus, I feel pretty ill. I want to go home where my feet both feel safe, but there ain't no jobs in the old free state. So I must remain in my new adopted land. I'm doing the best and I'm doing all I can. So next time you see me, don't ask for my name. For I am the king, and shalom may I reign, 'cause I've been down in this world, down and almost broken, like thousands of people that's standing in their To hell we must sail for the shores sweet Barbados, where the sugar cane grows taller than the God we once believed in. The butcher and his crowd raped the land we used to sleep in. Now to more chimes of ghostly crimes that haunt Tobacco Island. Twas 1659, forgotten now for sure. They dragged us from our homeland, the musket and their gun. Cromwell and his round heads battered all we knew. Shackled hopes of freedom were nil but stolen goods. Darkens the horizon, blackened from the sun. This rotten cage of Bridgetown is where I now belong. To hell we must sail for the short sweet Barbados, where the sugar cane grows taller than the God we once believed in. The butcher and his crown raped the land we used to sleep in. Now tomorrow chimes of ghostly crimes that haunt Tobacco Island. Red leg, down peg, plaster burns the soul. The flogging's there aplenty, but reasons there are none. Our backs belong to landlords, but branded is their name. Paid for with 10 shillings, cheap labour never breaks. The silver moon is shining, cools the copper blood, where the living meet the dead, and together dance as one. To hell we must sail for the shore sweet Barbados, where the sugar cane goes falling and the God we once believed in. The butcher and his crown raped the land we used to sleep in. Now tomorrow chimes and ghostly cries will have Tobacco Island. Agony, will you cleanse this misery? For it's never again I'll breathe the air of home. From the sandy edge, the rolling sea breaks my revenge. And with each whisper, 1,000 waves I hear all I'm coming home. Bye.